Now at 10, family and fellow first responders pay their respects to fallen JPD officer Corporal Ben Cooper as he's laid to rest. Plus, a bill in Oklahoma would change the required qualifications for the state's health commissioner, and how a new national law will improve access to care for sexual assault survivors.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
There's been a lot of comments about Ben's sacrifice last Tuesday and about the sacrifice he made. But I want us to realize something. Last Tuesday wasn't Ben's sacrifice. Coop's life was a life of sacrifice.
Honors for a husband, a father, a hero. A funeral service at Missouri Southern's Leggett and Platt Center this afternoon paid tribute to fallen Joplin police officer Corporal Ben Cooper, who gave his life in the line of duty 1 week ago. This is KOAM News at 10. Friends, family, fellow first responders, and the community gathered for that funeral service. Following the service inside, a ceremony was held outside, which included taps, bagpipes, and a helicopter flyover. Members of the community in the 4-state area gathered along Main Street from 3rd to 19th Street for the procession.
I want to pay our respects to the police officer, service to the community, and that's just, it's heartbreaking, but I think we as a community, I think it's brought people together.
People lose sight of what they go through on a day-to-day basis. Cops see the darkest parts of people, and it's a scary thing for a lot of people to have to actually think about. And my heart goes out really to the friends and family of those officers that were involved.
You can see today's entire funeral service from the Leggett and Platt Center at KOAMNewsNow.com or the KOAM News Now YouTube page. You can also see aerial footage of the funeral procession through the KOAM Plus app. Corporal Cooper was a 1993 graduate of Carl Junction High School. Now, Carl Junction students are hosting an online auction to raise money for Joplin PD families. Items for sale include home decor and sports memorabilia from the Kansas City Chiefs and an autographed jersey from the Baltimore Ravens.
I'm more hoping that just giving back to the community, especially my dad is a police officer, so I totally understand. I probably don't understand to their level of what they're facing right now, but I've had that fear.
The auction will be on March 26th and 27th. You can find more information on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. Funeral services will also take place this week for Officer Jake Reed. Those services will also be at the Leggett and Platt Center. Visitation will be on Thursday from 4 to 8 p.m. The funeral will be on Friday at 1. Let's check in with Nick Kelly now for a first look at the weather.
Weather-wise, it was an okay day, Dow. We had a lot of cloud cover from last night into this morning and maybe a few showers for some, but we were quick to clear that out. So you'll see from the almanac at Joplin Regional, we wasted no time warming up as a result of that. 40 this morning and the high of 68 degrees. That is quite the warm up. And we'll go even milder or warmer, if you will, tomorrow because the mostly clear skies we have now. It's locked in for another day tomorrow as we're in between 2 storm systems. The next one, by the way, still getting its act together out to the west, but it's got some time to develop before it heads our way. So that means in the short term, upper 40s to mid 50s across the board now, and I think we'll all drop off into the 40s. Let's say Joplin at 47, mid 40s elsewhere across much of the region. But that south wind back in action down with mostly sunny skies. 72 for Joplin. Some could hit the mid 70s before the day is all said and done. We'll break down what that next system out west will roll in and what it'll do for us here in a bit.
See you then. Missouri Southern is again offering help to people filing their taxes. The Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program will help qualified individuals and families file on 3 dates over the next month. To qualify, you must make less than $58,000 per year. Appointments are required and will take place this Saturday, that's March 19th, also on April 2nd and April 16th at the Plaster Center. People are asked to bring photo ID, social security cards, and necessary tax forms, including a 2020 tax return. Oklahoma's health commissioner would no longer need to be a medical doctor or have a background in health administration under a bill passed by the state Senate. That measure now heads to the House. Now, under current law, the state health commissioner must be a doctor or have a doctoral degree in public health or a master's degree with 5 years of experience in health administration. The bill adds an exemption for candidates with a master's degree and experience in managing, quote, large projects. The Coffeyville, Kansas Police Department is looking for a person of interest in the shooting death of a minor. Police say that shooting happened late Sunday night on North Walnut Street. The victim from Chanute was found with gunshot wounds and was taken to a hospital where that person later died. Authorities are looking for 19-year-old Traven Hayes Smith of Coffeyville as a person of interest in that case. A years-long fight for better access to care for rape survivors is now law. President Biden today signed the Violence Against Women Act, which includes provisions of a bipartisan bill for victims of sexual assault. Reporter Natalie Brand introduces us to a survivor who fought for national change.
I saw a system that had failed me at every level, from the hospital to the police to the prosecutors.
Leah Griffin of Seattle has fought for change for survivors of sexual assault ever since her rape in 2014.
I went to the closest emergency room, told them what happened. They shrugged their shoulders and said, "We don't do rape kits here." Hours later, I was able to get a rape kit at a different hospital across the city, but the delay in care caused a catastrophic series of failures in my case, and I never got justice.
But now she's received justice of a different kind.
Thank you.
New law, signed Tuesday, develops national standards of care and a federal grant program incentivizing hospitals to train specialized nurses known as sexual assault forensic examiners.
My goal is that every hospital in this country, urban, rural, anywhere, will have someone who is trained as a sane nurse to be able to help a victim of sexual assault, be able to process the evidence that they need.
Washington Senator Patty Murray crafted the bipartisan legislation after hearing about Griffin's case and discovering the problem was widespread.
I was stunned at how many hospitals and healthcare providers did not have someone trained to be able to do this work.
The new bill will help uncover where gaps remain.
To finally see it across the finish line is the accomplishment of a lifetime,
with the ultimate goal of making sure what happened to Griffin doesn't happen to anyone else. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Alaska Republican Senator Lisa Murkowski co-sponsored the legislation. In some parts of her state, it requires a plane trip for sex assault victims to receive the necessary care. Coming up, a push by federal lawmakers to make daylight savings time permanent. Plus, this is Equal Pay Day. We're going to learn about a nationwide push intended to make sure women are paid the same as their male colleagues. The White House announced today President Biden will head to Europe to meet with NATO leaders in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. It's not clear whether he'll meet with the Ukrainian President Zelensky, who will virtually address Congress tomorrow. Zelensky is expected to call for more fighter jets and a no-fly zone over Ukraine to stem the Russian air assault. Meanwhile, Moscow is taking action against the U.S., slapping sanctions on the president, his top defense and national security advisors, as well as his son Hunter, and on Hillary Clinton. If you're tired of changing your clocks twice a year, well, it might become a thing of the past. Eventually, the Senate passed a measure today that would make daylight saving time permanent and get rid of setting clocks back in the fall. It passed with bipartisan support unanimously. The measure will now go to the House, but it's unclear if they're going to take it up. That would be necessary, of course, before President Biden could sign it into law. If it does happen, the change wouldn't go into effect until November of 2023 because transportation schedules have already been set until then. Today is Equal Pay Day, a day to raise awareness about the gender pay gap. The White House says in 2020, on average, women earned 83 cents for every dollar earned by male colleagues doing the exact same work. That's despite legal protections both federally and in 49 states. The only state without some equal pay protection is Mississippi. But this month, lawmakers hope to change that. Reporter Daniel Bacchus takes a look.
It's past time.
It's still not easy for Dr. Laverne Gentry to talk about her fight for equal pay.
I might need to get my tissue because it might even get emotional.
She was a professor at Jackson State University in Mississippi when she noticed the discrimination.
I knew that there were males who started with me and even some who started after me who were making significant more.
With no state equal pay protections in Mississippi, Dr. Gentry filed a federal lawsuit against the university, and she won. That was in 2009. Now, more than a decade later, Mississippi still has no equal pay law, leaving no state legal recourse for employees being paid less for the same work based on sex.
It's time that we have an equal pay statute here in our law books.
Mississippi Representative Angela Cockerham is the author of House Bill 770, one of two the state legislature is considering.
I think that it will be so beneficial to so many citizens and residents here in the state of Mississippi.
But not everyone agrees.
Both of these bills will do harm.
Cassandra Welchland is the executive director of the Mississippi Black Women's Roundtable. She says the bills do not protect women of color or against retaliation and allow employers to use past wages as a reason for paying unfair salaries.
Mississippi has to pass a good equal pay law, not just an equal pay law.
Gentry will be watching.
Let's go ahead and get it right.
She's hoping legislation will move women in the state a step closer to equal pay. Danya Backus, CBS News.
Mississippi Representative Angela Cockerham says she hopes the legislation will pass an equal pay bill by the time the session ends on April 1st. Hopes that passes in the legislature. Scientists in the UK have discovered a way to help pacemakers and hearing aids work better. In studies on mice, doctors found adding an anti-inflammatory drug to the coating of an implant helped reduce the amount of scar tissue that usually forms around the device. That's important because too much scar tissue prevents electrical stimulation from reaching the nervous system, causing the implant to fail. An analysis of U.S. adults found fewer than half, 43%, have a regular doctor they've seen for 5 years or more. The study comes from the Commonwealth Fund. Among wealthy nations, it's the lowest access to primary health care in the world. American physicians were also least likely to say they offered after-hours care or make home visits frequently. A little bit later, the Pittsburgh Public Library offers students a chance to get some volunteer work in.
But first, we've got a little bit of dry time and mild air to enjoy before our next storm system rolls in. We'll break it down next. Mild today, we'll do it again tomorrow before we see a couple storm systems on the horizon start to head our way. Let's start things off, though, with a live look from Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. Can't deny, we had this view nice and quiet all evening long. It had a lot of cloud cover from this morning, but everybody had cloud cover quickly move out throughout the course of the day. That's what resulted in a good jump in temperatures. Lower 60s yesterday afternoon. We dropped back mainly lower to middle 40s this morning. And then at least pushing near 68 at Joplin Regional. Everybody pushing to the mid to upper 60s this afternoon. I'm going to trend milder for tomorrow because the mostly clear skies that we finally saw back in action late this afternoon and certainly this evening, that's what's on tap for us tomorrow. So we are going to enjoy that, and nothing to track on the radar network, but this is going to get another workout within the next few days with our next storm system on the horizon. Right now, though, 7th Ridgeline, you're at 56 degrees with a mostly clear sky from the east side of Joplin. Same goes for Joplin Regional. Southeast wind at 5, humidity, it's a little up there, but not too terribly. So at 75%, we do have some upper 40s popping up already on the board, especially north and west of, let's say Uniontown, Pittsburgh, Columbus. Everybody else trying to hold on to lower to middle 50s, but we'll all drop back into the 40s tonight with a light breeze and mostly clear skies here. Again, we're quiet because we're in between two storm systems. The last one that came on through reorganized, working across the southeast now, and then our next cold front, there it is, waiting for us in the western parts of the U.S. But until we can get this upper level low in Washington state to push that thing our way, we're on the warmer side of the jet with the last wave passing by to the east, so we're set for a pretty good Wednesday across the region. Everybody's got to put up with another cool night, though. Maybe some lower 40s in our far outlying areas, but most of us will be in the mid, maybe a few upper 40s to start the morning out. But with mostly sunny skies and a good south wind back in action, look at how fast we go into the mid 60s tomorrow afternoon. And pushing highs at least to 72, especially in downtown Joplin. You'll start at 47 in the morning, 65 by noon, and pushing highs near 72 with that south wind at 5 to 15, maybe a few gusts near 20. But out west, you can certainly see some mid 70s before today was all said and done. That being said, look at the cloud cover eager to pick up. Tomorrow night, going throughout much of St. Patrick's Day, but we'll just be bouncing in and out of the clouds and pushing highs into the mid-70s ahead of the approaching storm system. And we're going to be dry for much of St. Patrick's Day until we get into very late Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, Thursday night, and into Friday. That's when we'll see the better chances for rain and thunderstorms even roll on through. Nothing severe, but can't rule out some thunderstorms. One other thing I want to keep an eye out for is some colder air that could try to bring a few snowflakes our way. I still think the better shot for any wintry weather with the system will be to the north of the region. That's out of here by Friday afternoon, though. Looking good and mild again for Saturday and Sunday. Then the next system in Doug's pattern after Thursday's wave. This will bring in another shot for thunderstorms as we go into early next week. Very appropriate considering we have spring kicking off on Sunday. But 72 tomorrow, 74 Thursday, 53, and dropping into the 40s throughout the day on Friday, Dow. But a slight hiccup in an otherwise pretty good looking weekend. 61 on Saturday, 70 on Sunday, and still in the 60s, even with the storm chances back on Monday.
Yeah, a little hiccup and a nice bounce back, certainly by Sunday.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Nick. Pittsburgh Public Library is giving local teens a chance to help their community. The library is hosting Volunteens. It's an event open to junior high and high school students looking to get some volunteer hours on their schedule. The library will host another Volunteens event next week on the 24th, 4 p.m. Still ahead, Crowder softball puts its 16-game winning streak on the line against Fort Scott Community College, and MIAA recognition for Pitt State's Jordan Maxson after a big weekend against Northwest Missouri. Jacob Leonard has that and more up next.
Crowder College softball is once again one of the best teams in the nation this season. So far this year, the Rough Riders are 20-2 overall. They've won 16 straight. They've climbed up to number 14 in the national rankings. The Crowder at home this afternoon, looking to stay hot with a doubleheader against Fort Scott. Both teams flashing the leather early. Former McDonald County standout Rita Santillan starts the double play for Crowder there. Then in the third inning, Madison Lee at shortstop. Look at the dive and grab from Fort Scott. This game's scoreless until the fifth. Now in the fifth, it's the Greyhounds striking first. Ivory Reitner fights it off to short. The throw to first gets away. Alexis McGranahan scores all the way from first. Fort Scott goes up 1-0. Big response, though, from Crowder in the bottom half. Second and third for Courtney Story. Finds the gap in left. Both runners score to give the Riders their first lead. Later in the inning, bases loaded for Nia Cox. Pulls it into the left field corner. That'll clear the bases. 8 runs in the fifth inning for Crowder. They go on to take game 1 over Fort Scott 9-5. Now in game 2, Crowder trying for the doubleheader sweep, and they would get it, beating the Greyhounds 9-1. Crowder is now 22-2 overall and has won 18 straight games. The Missouri Southern Lions have won 4 games in a row. The Lions just finished off a 3-game sweep on the road over Central Oklahoma last night. Now tonight, right back on the field in Claremore, Oklahoma, facing Rogers State. That one is final. It was a tough inning for Missouri Southern. Lions fall on a 10th inning walk-off home run 9-7. Tragan Parker and Ryan Doran each hit home runs for Missouri Southern. The Lions are back in action on Friday, kicking off a home series against Washburn. Pittsburgh State's Jordan Maxson has been named the MIAA Hitter of the Week. He was a monster for the Gorillas on Saturday and Sunday against Northwest Missouri. In those 2 wins, he hit .625 with 4 home runs and 8 RBIs. Maxson is hitting .444 on the year, which is second in the MIAA, and has 8 home runs. Now here he is on his big weekend against Northwest.
Lately, I've just been kind of seeing the ball well and putting really good swings on some good pitches that I'm looking for. So throughout the weekend, the day before, I thought that they were throwing me kind of the same as like the day before, so I was kind of sitting on the same pitches. And when it came time to swing, I just tried to swing really hard and put a good swing on it. So
he's been unbelievable for us, as hot a hitter as I've ever had, in a stretch. So, he just feels good about himself every time he walks in the box, and he's not trying to make adjustments to pulling the baseball or hitting the other way. He's doing what he does right, and he's been getting away with it. So hopefully he can continue to roll.
Frank Clark is coming back to Kansas City. Clark and the Chiefs have agreed to a restructured deal for 2 years, up to $36 million. Last year, he had 4.5 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in 14 games. He's just 28 years old, and Clark is a 3-time NFL Pro Bowl selection. And that's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Delbert Mosler served in the U.S. Army from 1947 to 1953. The Altamont, Kansas native was stationed in France, Japan, and Korea. And we salute Master Sergeant Delbert Mosler, our 4-state hero. Nice temps today, and we can expect the same for the next couple of days.
All we need to do is just get past another cool night with lows back in the 40s, and then I think we'll go back to at least 72 tomorrow with mostly sunny skies. Still pushing into the mid-70s for St. Patrick's Day, but that's when our next storm system will roll in. I'm thinking rain and storm chances start to ramp up Thursday evening, Thursday night, and continuing into Friday morning.
Days getting longer and warmer, and some rain coming. Things are going to be greening up before you know it.
We'll take it.
Final sports notes.
Pittsburgh State baseball immediately back in action there on the field tomorrow at Emporia State.
Very good. We're going to leave you tonight with images of the 23 first responders who've died in the line of duty in Joplin dating back to the 1800s. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.